We've gotten so like distracted by all the PR 30th anniversary special news that Cosmic Fury also released its news, and we get a couple of reveals on their side. And let's start off with the kind of more controversial issue is the new Cosmic Fury suits. Now, when I first reviewed the Cosmic Fury suits from the original artwork that we saw, I did have issues with it. This is all original for PR, and I thought they were okay. It's just they weren't as detailed as you would expect. It's kind of plain, and the main issue is the chest area because they're like, on most PR season suits, Super Sentai suits, they always have something there. Not every single time, but there's always some sort of detail there, either armor, a design, artwork for the style of the season. With these suits, it's mostly blank, and I thought, like, why didn't they just reuse the Dino Fury lightning bolt slash, teeth that was on the center part of the suit and call it a day? Because that would have just given detail. Or, like I said in the video, why don't they just modify that a little bit so it kind of looks more like the mmpr lightning bolt? Because again, these are all original suits. We can do whatever we want. You can incorporate more PR elements in, rather than the Super Sentai, since they're going away from those suits. I'm like, this is probably going to become a problem when it comes on screen. And unfortunately, the suits don't look that great. Now, before I go into like everyone else complaining about it, the first thing I want to point out is that I don't want to put too much hate on the new suits because we're seeing them from generic cell phone cameras and whatnot, and we're not seeing it through the finished final episodes. Film cameras and gaffers do a lot of work to make a lot of things look good on camera, and a lot of times the materials they used on the suits are needed to be a specific way so that they look better cinematically. So the material they use, it doesn't look great on generic cameras, but it might look okay when we're watching it through the episodes. So I'm going to give them a pass on that. The one thing I will not pass on is the, again, blank area on the chest, and then they added these muscle suits into the thing. That was a long-standing joke in PR. Whenever we had like coloring books or any type of official artwork, virtually all the Rangers would always be buff, built, and like perfect. So they were trying to make them like, traditional generic superheroes. And I'm like, yes, Power Rangers is superheroes, but they're still regular people in just spandex suits. They're 99% of the time, they're not built. Yeah, some characters are and whatnot, but they usually aren't. So when you see them add the muscle suit on the regular suits, I'm not really saying like you can't do it. There's certain times they do that in PR in general. For example, Andros' Battleizer suit, or Mystic Force, Mystic Green had a power-up which made him, this top part be all muscly and built. That works fine there because, again, it's a power-up. It's not a thing through the entire season. And when they put it on the suits, it doesn't really look good. And it kind of makes me think they kind of just stole the design from Ninja Steel's ninja forms, which they didn't really use that often because the chest looks very similar. The only thing they really did was they made the abs bigger. It almost feels like, oh, there wasn't anything in the chest area, and so they were like, well, we need to put something here. So they ended up making a muscle suit for the guys. It doesn't really help it. It doesn't really look good. For the rest of the suit, I mean, I think they're fine. I do like the top part with the shoulder bits, the gold trim in the center, the belts, the capes, which I was kind of surprised that they were going with capes. Javi has a mechanical arm. Whether he loses his arm in season 3 or not, or he just gets some sort of upgrade or whatnot, we'll find out. I like their weapons. I like their new version of the Morpher. We do see the mmpr lightning bolt on their suits. I think it's tacky. Like I said, I wish it was built more into the suit rather than just kind of slapped on the side. The helmets are fine. It's just, again, like I said, the center part of the suits are not really great. Now, the second thing that came out of the Cosmic Fury news was that Amelia became Red Ranger, and Zato was moved over to the new Zenith Ranger. So he's kind of like moved up into the mentor role while Amelia takes over the leader role of the team, which I think was okay. I just have a couple of issues with it. One thing, it's like it wasn't really set up per se. I mean, there were some things that were initially hinted at, but for the most part, Amelia's story throughout season 1 and 2 was the big reveal of her being, an alien, the same species Zato and Aeon are. So I was like, that was a cool reveal. That was a cool build up. But when it came to Amelia becoming the Red Ranger, it kind of feels like it was kind of like just thrown in there at the last minute because granted, we did have an episode where Amelia took charge of the online streaming place. She took it, but the thing is, it was like she took it over. It was really hell for her, and she ended up giving it back to the real owners of the place. And I was like, there was that hint there, but ultimately there was no like build up on it. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this probably happened. Just for the same reason why everyone complained when back in season 1 when Aeon first arrived and he had that problem with Zato and it was immediately just dealt with within the same episode instead of this being kind of a thing going through a couple of episodes. One of the things that Simon Bennett said that they couldn't really have any kind of long stringed story arcs through the story. So they were very limited on what they can do. So that's why Aeon did his thing. So that could be the main reason why Amelia didn't have anything set up. I mean, there are bits in here that they do thread through the story, but Amelia's thing becoming leader, it really had nothing going for it. There's no kind of like she wanted to become a leader and like she got her first experience from the first episode of season 2. And then throughout the remaining 20 episodes, you would see her take like charge or get used to certain things where she does that. Unless I'm forgetting things, because again, I watched season 2 very quickly. I might have missed things here and there, but overall, Amelia had her moments in her revelations. She saved the day in the finale. You know, everyone, you know, was sad and stuff that Zato died. That's like my major complaint about it. The only thing I kind of feel disappointed in is that, you know, Zato had this really cool custom Dino Fury suit at the end of season 2, and because they're getting these Cosmic Fury suits now for season 3, that suit kind of just gets thrown out, and like all that custom suit was just kind of a waste. And to me, that suit was better than what we currently have here for the most part. Again, if they just took that element from that suit and slapped it on to the Cosmic Fury suit, I think it would work better because again, even though his was more like, you know, the same color he has with his Zenith suit now, it had more stuff on it. So I was like, I wish they went in that direction. I'm kind of puzzled why they made it blank. It just feels kind of like, oh, they missed an opportunity to put something on there. I mean, if you didn't really want to have the Dino Fury lightning bolt / teeth, they could have had the symbols from the Q Ranger stuff, or have the dinosaurs from the Dino Fury Zords that were used. So, like, you know, they lose the old Zords and we get the new ones for the Q Ranger footage, but their old Zords still show up on their suits, for example. Because, again, it's still going to be a dinosaur-themed season with their suits, just mixed in with all the Q Ranger stuff. You know, we're going to have that visual problem, just like mmpr Season 2 was. I just think, overall, the suits could have used a little bit more detail. It's possible at the end of the day they had to do this because it saved on money. Because again, these suits are all original. We have to pay to do all of them. Yes, granted, whenever they have to make the PR versions of the suits, they always have to make US versions of suits. They don't simply take the Sentai suits and use them again. To save on money, they produce different suits for the US so that they don't rip as much. They had a medium budget. Again, there was only 10 episodes, and they had to make the suits like this so that they can either last longer, or it was just simpler to make duplicates. There's probably a specific reason why they went for the more blank look. Is it an excuse? No, I'm not saying it's an excuse. It is unfortunate. I wish they had more detail. It's cool that Amelia is the Red Ranger. I just wish they built it up more. It just feels kind of out of place. Because it would have been like, for example, if this had happened with Jen in Time Force, no one would have batted an eye if Jen became the Red Ranger. Because just like she was already leader, she led the team anyway, her just being the Red Ranger would have been just like... So yeah, just because they kind of goofed up with these suits doesn't mean Cosmic Fury is going to be automatically bad or it's going to fall apart. I mean, there is 10 episodes. They do have a lot to cover in it. I want to see how the Q Ranger footage is going to be blended together with it. And of course, how does this overall work its way into the MMPR 30th anniversary. We do know that David Yost filmed additional material that will most likely appear in Cosmic Fury, so it's possible that he'll guest star in one episode and or a specific thing that will link the two parts together. Because again, you have to do that. It would be stupid to have a 30th anniversary special, but Cosmic Fury is completely isolated from that thing. Everything initially has set up from Dino Fury. Zed came back in Dino Fury. He escaped somehow. So those elements have been set up in the show, and it would feel stupid that they wouldn't pay it off by bringing someone from the MMPR side into Cosmic Fury's story, either as a help at the last minute. I don't expect David Yost to morph and be in an episode. I think he'll most likely be a mentor role, kind of like, Tommy was in the early points of Dino Thunder. He stayed in the base. I'm thinking more like that. Or he'll just simply, build something to help them stop the main baddie at the end of, the season finale. I think that's how they'll incorporate him ultimately. I still have hope that the season will be good. For the most part, these seasons have been good and fine. Beast Morpher, same thing. We had a good string of seasons that were fun episodes, and I will give them faith. And it's not like it was in the older seasons where from Samurai and for most of the other seasons, it was just failure after failure where you just couldn't really give them a chance anymore. This is different. So I hope these suits pay off when we see them on camera, and I hope we have a good payoff between the two teams of MMPR and Cosmic Fury.